Good morning, YouTubers, and welcome once again to this would be the southerly wing of the Stink Bug Works. Anyway, I went to the pond yesterday with my friend Wayne, ran a bunch of boats, but due to technical difficulties, I don't have any videos of it. So I'll talk about it. I'll talk about what happened, and I'll talk about our next plans. So I ran this puppy on a 427. It ran real good, but I was a little high on the stern, so I only had one battery for it. So I ran it around for a bit and flipped it. And like my good buddy Steve said, what about the radio up here on top of here if you flip it? And my response was, hey, if it's flipped, you don't need a radio anyway. You got other problems. Anyway, I flipped it, but my tape job was good enough, and the whole inside was dry. So yeah, even though my receiver was on the bottom of the boat as it's laying upside down, it still stayed dry. So there you go. So this ran pretty good. I did pull up the strut as part of my post-run maintenance. Now, let's talk about this. Big B does another channel on boats, and he goes into a lot more detail on the how-tos and the whys. I kind of take the assumption that you guys already know what to do, and if you don't know what to do, go look at Big B's channel. He will definitely get your skill and information level up where it needs to be. Anyway, so this little puppy ran good. Yeah, it did spend some time in the upside down position, but I've since raised the strut and we're going to take it out again. So I may opt for a bigger prop. I used a cut down 427, and while it ran like stink, I didn't have any way to check temperatures because it spent half an hour floating upside down before I got it to shore. It was way out of casting range, and Wayne's rescue boat needs rescuing itself. So there was the vortex. Now let me share a couple of other things with you. We're going to go over to the other side of the Stink Bug Works, and we're going to go over here and we're going to look in my parts supply. I'm going to pick a box that says prop shafts, and I'm going to pull that out. We're going to go over here to the easterly wing where I'm charging some batteries. You notice I store them here in this 50 cal ammo box. That's a good place to keep your batteries. Anyway, on the Jet Stepper Challenge, remember I bought this drive shaft from a guy in England. Well, I've discovered what he does. He takes a run-of-the-mill 3mm K&S tube, and look what I found here. I discovered this is 2mm, although it says 1.75mm. This is 2mm Teflon tube for a 3D printer, and guess what, boys and girls? It fits right inside this 3mm tubing. And I had one that I prepped. Anyway. Oh, here it is. It fits right here in this 3mm tubing. And if you happen to have, let me dig through my box of parts until I find one. That's wrong size. If you happen to have a 2mm drive shaft, like this one. This is a 2mm drive shaft. A little rusty, but it will fit right in there, and it's smooth as can be. So you can get this Teflon tube for next to nothing. You get K&S tube. You probably have some 3mm tube in your shop right now. Bingo. There's your drive shaft. You can get, and I'm going to, when it finally arrives, I'll show you, from TFL. They'll sell you a drive shaft for about $1, and it'll have a threaded end on it and such. So if you want to go cheap, there's a cheap drive shaft alternative. If you guys need any of this, send me a message, because it only takes that much, half and half for a drive shaft, and it appears that I have a lifetime supply with one order. So there you go. So I'm charging up transmitters, getting batteries ready for storage. Oh, let's talk about the Dona and Wayne. So I ran the Dona. Let's see what I've done. I've replaced the turn fin. I've fixed a water leak. I found a leaking hose inside the hull there. So I fixed that, and it's running better and better and better, but I still got some serious prop walk. So next time out, I got to start working with strut heights. I set that up per the KEP's recommendations, but yeah, it's just not working for me. So we'll do some work there. Now, let's talk about poor Wayne. I love Wayne, but, poor guy doesn't have a clue. He ran his rigger, which was an old Gropner Silver Bullet. And believe it or not, I have one that's unbuilt. It was an old Gropner Silver Bullet. And it was squirrely as heck, hopping and leaping, and it wouldn't go around a corner, and is skipping and jumping. But he did manage to get one or maybe even two straightaway runs. But every time he went to turn, it would hop and skip and spin, and it wouldn't go around a corner. And he's there going, "Oh, it's perfect." No, Wayne, it's not perfect. Just because you got one straightaway pass on it, and it was okay, it wasn't great. Just because you got one straightaway pass does not mean it's perfect. Wayne thinks that you bolt a strut on and you're done. He doesn't understand the nuances of raising it up a millimeter or two. And the same thing with a rudder. He has no idea that the shape of the rudder and the depth of the rudder will affect things. Now, if you watch Big B's channel, you'll know all about that, because he goes into depth demonstrating how this rudder will do that and that rudder will do this. And, poor Wayne, he just doesn't have a clue. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm such an evil person. I have a Silver Bullet. Now, he's running his with a pretty powerful 15 series motor, which is a 36. So it's a short can 36 motor, about 3,400 kV. I'm going to run a 3,400 kV rocket motor in mine on the same battery setup, basically the same setup. And I'm going to show him how a properly set up boat runs. Poor Wayne is blaming, "Oh, the water's rough. That's why it's skipping and flying out of the water." No, Wayne, it's more than just rough water. So that's my plan. I may work on that before I finish the drifter, because that Silver Bullet is mostly done. All I really need to do is make a motor mount for it, and it'll be ready to go. So anyway, there's the current update. I wanted to give you videos of the boats running, and they didn't. And my little secret project, it worked okay, but I put a lighter battery in it, and the battery is at the back of the boat. And as such, it was a little nose heavy. So when I got back here to the shop, I've moved things around, and I've moved the speed control back. And so next time out, it should balance a little better. And so as the battery charger fan comes on, I'm going to say, until next time, boys and girls, jet out.